Good evening, We by Black family. This is Rudy here. This is We by Black, New Africa August. Thank you all for joining us today. I have with me my brother, my friend, Rashaad Lambert, the founder of Forbes, the culture. He's going to be doing a lot of great insight, providing talking points today on just what he has going on. I'm excited to hear from him. So I'll stop there, let you go from there, Rashaad, and we'll jump back and forth so you can introduce
Cool.
everyone today.
Cool, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate this, Rudy, man. I'm really happy to, be a part of this tonight. I love doing black stuff. So, so this is, uh, this is a good one. So I'm just like Rudy said, my name is Rashaad Lambert. I'm the founder of Forbes the Culture. Um, Man, so many other things. It's always hard to do like a intro. I can talk about anybody else. I'm talking about myself. I try to condense all of this stuff. So,
Right.
um, I, so outside of Forbes the Culture, I work in the marketing industry. I started my company in 2009. I've been in marketing for 11 years. Well, I mean for like 15 years, but I started my company in 2009. Prior to that, I spent 8 years in corporate. I have a nonprofit organization as well. Outside of Forbes of Culture, I have a Culture Makers Inc., which we work on art strategy and to a diversifying portfolios, as well as a lot of community work. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff, but just mainly focusing on Forbes of Culture. Um, we created, Forbes the Culture to be a safe space and to be a hub for elite, professionals of color, more specifically Black and Brown people, Black and Latinx, to make sure that we have a space to, that we have our own table. People always talk about having a seat at the table and wanting to have a seat at, these other tables, but we didn't have a place where we could discuss, the issues that are plaguing our communities, and where we can kind of discuss what we want to take back to those other tables and what can be discussed at those tables, and to make sure that not only are we speaking in one voice, but that we're all aligned. And I guess we'll get into more. I don't want to spend up too much time on the intro, but that's basically the gist of it. I know that there's some Forbes of Culture members watching, so a shout out to everybody. A shout out to all the their chapter leads, and Rudy left out. One of his titles. He's the Atlanta lead for Forbes of Culture. Also shout out to other Atlanta lead of Gina. Um, Really happy to have you, of course. In addition to your responsibilities at We Buy Black, definitely happy to have you. Leading our Atlanta chapter, and we got a lot of growing to do, a whole lot more work to do, and it's important when you have important work to be done, that you have the right leadership in place, and you have the right people that can carry us into the next phase of what we're working on now. Wait, say it again, Riyadh. I can't hear you. Hold on.
You
All
hear me
right, there
now?
we go.
There we go.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, no, I was
There
saying,
we
man,
go. We
you
got my man.
mentioned leadership. With me being a part of the network, I definitely
Mhm.
sense that energy heavily. With what you and the rest of the team members have built out, we
Yeah.
definitely have seen a lot of growth with just a short amount of time I've been a part of it.
Mhm.
But I definitely want to know more about what inspired you from your journey as a leader to want to impact others and really bring them together.
Mhm. So speaking more specifically about the origins of Forbes of Culture, like how we got here, basically. Um, I've been to a lot of business conferences, kind of where you go to network, or where you did go to network before, prior up to social media, and even in the social media age. There's a bunch of conferences that you have to go to meet new people and to try to secure clients. And
Right.
one thing from our marketing company that that kind of separates us from like other marketing companies. One is we're the only Six Sigma marketing company in the world, but outside of that, we don't advertise. We can help you advertise. We can teach teach other people how to advertise, but we never bought like a Facebook ads or did
Right.
billboards or commercials, none of that stuff, because the work kind of speaks for itself. But the only way that people would be able to meet me or meet my team is if we go to these conferences. And what I
Right.
noticed, which is like, it's kind of like it's a strange thing that when you go to these conferences, there's a lot of people, there's not a lot of us typically, meaning black and brown people. And in addition to that, when you go to a conference, or this was prior to, it's gotten better, and I've seen some improvement since then. But going to these conferences, I would notice that when you see black and brown people, we wouldn't talk to each other. Like I would want to, try to walk up and talk to somebody and say, "Hey, hey, what's going on?" But because for a lot of years, maybe 400 plus years, success has been seen as being white, or like more specifically being white male, not even women, because we know that women didn't have some of the rights in business to get funding and things as well, whether you were black or white, didn't matter. So going to these conferences and seeing people not wanting to congregate just because they wanted to be in the success circle, which was the white circle or an Asian circle, and these other places. I wanted to do something about that, and I had been seeing this for years. And I'm sure that you probably, you may have experienced this yourself, like going to places and trying to, convene or trying to congregate with your people, and the people not really being very receptive to that, but to not to like down talk us, because it's not really our fault if we had the place to blame. It's been marketed and it's been promoted that when there is a congregation of black people, that there's some mischief afoot or something's going on, or you should clutch your purse or watch your pockets, or those sort of things have been promoted not just by people outside of our race. We promoted ourselves, like we by certain things that we put out there, is we're promoting it also. So trying to dispel that myth at the Forbes Under 30 conference in 2017, I wanted to just have a conversation with some people. And I'm not rich, so I picked them 25 people because that's what I could afford. So I wanted to gather 25 people together, have some light appetizers and some drinks. And by drinks I mean water, because I ain't have it like that. And trying to make sure that we could create that space, that there were people from all over the world, and not just people from the conference, which is one of them, the common misconceptions. While it was very diverse, most of the people that came to the Forbes of Culture dinner that night were, or the black dinner, because it wasn't called a Forbes of Culture at that time. Most of the people that came that night were from all over the place. People drove up from New York because they heard about it, and we were in Boston. People came from all in that tri-state area just because they heard about what was going on and wanted to participate and be a part of it. So throughout the day, as I would see different people or see people, and I would just just kind of do it all by word of mouth. Are you familiar with Point of Pines in South Carolina?
I'm not.
So one of the stories that I remember from when I was a kid was when my grandmama used to always tell me the story about Point of Pines. And Point of Pines is like a building. I can't even call it a house because it's like a shack. And if you actually go to the African American Museum in DC, they have a replica of Point of Pines there. But it was basically a middle point before plantations. And what would happen there is, during the day, of course, because they couldn't, say, hey, we're going to have classes, is where they would teach, how to read, how to, count, how to write, different things that they weren't allowed to be able to learn during slavery. And every time I ever said something about not wanting to go back to school during the summer, I would go down there, during the summer and be on the farm. If I ever said anything about not wanting to go back to school or not liking school, she would tell me the story of Point of Pines. And I always knew it was coming, because as soon as I would say it, she would say, "Sit down right there." And I'm like, oh, here we go. I got to hear this again. but that was drilled in my mind, like that there were times when we couldn't learn, like you weren't allowed to learn. That is like crazy to think about now, but I started thinking about that day, and I started thinking about all these things about how people look at collections of black people as malicious, and how they may not want to be seen as going in the black circle because of how that may look to their investors or different people. And I'm like, man, we got to really like change this. And this is not just any conference. Like, we're at a Forbes conference, so why should we be still having these same issues that we would have at these other places? And this is supposed to be like high level business. So I did it all by like word of mouth. Not like I didn't do it exactly like how they did at Point of Pines. They would have created them songs through um, throughout the day, and the song would tell you, what you would be learning and where you had to meet at night, and it would be in like the middle of the night. I did it kind of similar where I just wanted to, convene people just by word of mouth. No social media, no nothing like that. And I had actually just discovered a WhatsApp. I wasn't using a WhatsApp before then, and throughout the day, I would just meet people and I would get their information. And then I created this WhatsApp group, and I had a link, and I would just give the link to them, like, hey, join this group. And once I secure a location, because I didn't even have a location, I didn't want to make a reservation and all that stuff and not have any people, because I didn't know if anybody was actually going to be down with this. You got to understand, or you understand, people watching got to understand that. I mean, convening black people in a place where there's not a lot of black people is not like, it's a pretty risky thing. It's not something that, it could go left, actually. And I don't think I've ever told this part of the story. There were some people who I didn't get a chance to meet and didn't get the invite. And instead of just coming just like everybody else did, because I'll get into that story, they were like blasting us, in a public forum on the Forbes conference app. They were blasting us for having a black dinner, because they felt like they weren't invited. But I only invited 25 people, and by the end of the night, 300 people showed up. So wow. 275 people weren't invited, and they still showed up. So, right. And this is one of like is one of the things that we got to push past, because I've tried to find a way to reach out to those two people. It was just two people, but it still mattered to me. And I tried to find a way to reach out to them and figure out, like, this, like, why are you doing this? Like, this is not what you're supposed to do. Like, if we got an issue, we keep this in-house. Like, we don't make this like a public spectacle. That's not what we're supposed to be doing. And not even just that, but there would at the Forbes Under 30 conferences it's usually that Monday or Tuesday night is when everybody is doing private dinners. There just had never been a black dinner before. There's an Asian dinner. There's a Jewish dinner. There's a VC dinner. There's all different kinds of private dinners. So why was it a problem that we were having a black dinner? Well, the only reason that it could be, or that it would be a problem, is because of what people's perception of what a congregation of black people looks like. And and by the way, these two people were black. So that's what made it even worse. Is like, why are you tearing us down instead of joining us? So that was the only like damper on that night. But I'm like, other than that, when those first 25 people got there in the first 15 minutes, I got kind of nervous, because I was like, oh, this is about to turn into, something bigger than I thought. And I was nervous in a good way, because I'm like, oh, we're really about to get something done. We talked, we laughed, we cried, we joked, we hugged. It's when you used to be able to hug strangers. It was a long time ago. We didn't have masks on either. It was a different time,
So I want to jump in right there, man.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know you mentioned. So right now, since then, there's that same energy exists, right? But what has it evolved into since that inception?
So since that night, so this is kind of like that night. Invited 25 people, 300 people showed up. The next morning is when Forbes of Culture was born. It wasn't. I always get them. Yeah. October this was October 2nd of about 2017, and October 3rd is when Forbes the Culture was actually born. I always get credit as the founder, and like Venetia gets the credit as co-founder, and Mandel's founder member. But like the members and the people that congregated that night, that is what created Forbes the Culture. You can give whoever you want the credit, but those people created Forbes the Culture. That camaraderie that grew from that next morning and forward. There were people that had never met each other before. They were complete strangers. They formed partnerships that night, friendships, relationships, like everything that has grown now that we have over 5,000 members. But this started from 25 invites, 300 people, and then everything that kind of grew from there. We've seen business partnerships form. I remember two people that were both in ed tech, and they were both in a startup phase. And one of them closed their company to join this other person's company, and now they still work together to this day. Like, those are the type of things that came out of that night. And there were actually some things. It's kind of like Fight Club. It's something that I can't tell you what it was, but that night there was a plan that was put into place, and there were promises made, and everybody that was there that night that was a part of that conversation is still doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing right now as a part of that plan. And that's one of the best things for me is that it didn't just die that night, because I didn't have a plan on doing anything else. Like that next day, I woke up and I was just like, "Hey, y'all, thanks for coming. It was nice to meet everybody. Let's make sure that we hold each other accountable." And I was done. And they were like, "So what's next?" And I was like, "I don't have a next. I didn't plan for a next. This was not supposed to be a thing. This is just one dinner, one time, and let's move on." But the people showed me that this was needed, that we needed to have this. And I started working with some like outside partners and developed the logo and the merch and got the LLC and really turned this into like an actual a community organization. So much that, and this was like independent of Forbes. They didn't have anything to do with this. So grew it for 2 years into 2019 last July. And well, 2018. Let's talk about 2018 first before I even skip to 2019. So grow Forbes the Culture over the course of a year, going into October, 2018, going back to Boston, because the Forbes Under 30 Summit is like a family reunion. Like, you see the same people. I worked on the first two in 2014 and 15. It moved, and that's when it was in Philly. It moved to Boston in 2016 and 2017. Started Forbes the Culture. And then 2018, we took almost like 1,000 people that were all Forbes the Culture members going to the conference. And that first day, you see Forbes the Culture hoodies, hats, T-shirts, everything. Forbes had no idea what this was and what was going on. They're like, what is this thing that I see everybody wearing? And everybody kept saying like, "Oh, you gotta talk to Rashaad, you gotta talk to Rashaad, you gotta talk to Rashaad."
Right.
So by the end of that day, I know by the end of the conference, it was like the night before the end of the conference, started having some conversations with some people there, and they're like, "Man, listen, we like what you're doing, and we would rather partner with you than to be doing two things separate, and let's figure out how we can make that work." And over the course of the next few months, we talked and we figured out how we could come to an agreement. And then July of last year is when Forbes the Culture officially became a part of the Forbes family. We went into 2019 last last summit, which was the first year that it was moving to Detroit. So did that, amazing time, great time. We had our own stage there, did some programming, and moving on from there. I mean, we're still growing. We had some other stuff planned that I won't spoil because we still gonna do it. It just meant COVID hit and we had to shut everything down. Actually, one of the things that I can talk about. So during a CBC last year, which is the Congressional Black Caucus last year, we were supposed to do something called Culture Talks. So I did one interview with go with Angela Rye, and it was just on the fly. And then we did another one in October with, I'm drawing a blank, but one of the guys from Quicken Loans, and we did that in Detroit. As I'm talking about like what we could do, how we could pivot to make sure that we're doing something and giving something of value to the members throughout this time, since we weren't able to do our in-person events anymore and things of that nature. So we decided to launch, Culture Talks as a digital platform through Instagram. So now we have, we have a collection of these, specialized talks that are with, people that are like captains of industry, and, people that are like celebrities and athletes and all these different things, and kind of just really giving them a platform to speak freely as their teams will let them, but to speak freely and to promote their projects. And each week has a theme, and it's really more so because we don't see anything like this out there, where it's just two people. All of the moderators are Forbes the Culture members, so it's really just just trying to give them a platform, as well as uplifting the members, giving them a platform to share their stories and to connect with people that they may not have otherwise been able to connect with. And we have a lot of other things in store. I'm gonna try not to let nothing slip, because I'm not supposed to be saying stuff.
No, man, no. From what you shared so far, man, it sounds like the evolution of Forbes the Culture has really been a journey. I definitely commend you, as being a part of the network. Just watching you along the way, you've definitely done a great job of representing the network. But now I want to kind of move more to our theme of New Africa, man, and what we're really trying to instill.
Absolutely.
You've done a great job of letting us know just more so the origin of kind of where your thoughts have been over the previous years. But I definitely want to know with where you are currently, how you've seen the Fourth the Culture evolve. Where do you see Fourth the Culture as it pertains to setting the precedent? Where we have our elders, those who come before us, when it comes to passing the torch. What are we? How is Fourth the Culture really sharpening its sword, so to speak, when it comes to preparing us for what's to come in the future? How do you see your leadership really impacting just kind of what that looks like on the forefront?
So one of the most common questions that I get is, do I have to be under 30 to be a member of Forbes the Culture? And the answer is a very loud no. I'm not gonna say it loud, but it's a loud no. And the main reason for that is because that doesn't make any sense. Why would we limit something like this, or why would we limit this opportunity to only people that are under the age of 30? What this is an opportunity for younger people to get advice, to get a roadmap, to get information, to bridge that knowledge gap between Generation X, Generation Y, and Generation Z, or the Zoomers, or whatever they call them. But to make sure that these three generations are able to share information, because there's information that the younger people have. Even I'm younger than me, and I'm still young. I'm not old yet, but making sure that we get information from the younger people, that the people that are older than me can share information with them, because with age comes wisdom. Like they've been able to maneuver this thing we call America for much longer than you and I have been on this planet. So I mean, just the fact that they have survived this long is something that they should be able to teach. And we need to create a space where we can safely share this information, which is what Forbes the Culture is. It's mainly based on mentoring, like not just getting this job opportunity first, or not just getting this grant opportunity first, or not just finding out about this this new thing that's coming out, or this new album, or this new exclusive song. It's more so about the sharing, the passage of knowledge and information, of wisdom, of gathering, of learning from past mistakes, gathering all of those lessons, packaging them up into something that is digestible for people who, what one thing that I don't like, and not to like or stop my own thought, but one thing I don't like is that we in this country, not just as black people, but in this country, is we discard old people. Like as soon as you get past a certain age, it's kind of like they're looked at as worthless or like not of use, which is completely incorrect because people should be valued more as they reach a higher age. Because again, if you've been able to navigate this land this long, then you know something. Like there's got to be, even if you're not a millionaire, billionaire, there's information that you have that you can share and pass on. And I'm not just talking about, people like Robert Smith. I mean, just people like you and I. Like
Mm-hmm.
you have a son, I have a son. Passing down that information to not just our children, but to the sons of the nation. Like
Right.
this is what we're supposed to be doing. This is what we are here for. We don't we haven't been given these opportunities that we've been given. We haven't, and we worked hard for them, but we haven't been given these opportunities and been put in these places to be able uh, to obtain all the information that we have. And even those before us hadn't gathered all that information that they have. And these younger people are not going through all of the things that they're experiencing now and gathering all this information for nothing. Like
Right.
if I was to die on today or tomorrow, my motto is die empty. So if something
Mm-hmm.
right now, if in the middle of this live, if I drop dead, there's a bunch of people that have absorbed a lot of information from me, and I'm not
Right.
gatekeeping. I'm not with
Mm-hmm.
that gatekeeping stuff. Like this is like
Right.
you don't know how long you're gonna be here. So what are you waiting for? Why are you holding on to this for so long? This information needs to be passed down. It needs to be
Right.
shared. It needs to be distributed. So that is what I think that our place is, or one of the ways that our place is the is on the passage and sharing of of information. The other piece is, and this is, I'm not going to put it in a hierarchy, but to me this might be more important, which uh, is a strategically creating opportunity in places where there haven't been opportunities and where there hasn't been opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
where where we're not just providing this information. Just like I said, we're not just providing early information, but now we're working with like HR departments, and we're talking to these companies. I wrote an article for Forbes not that long ago, which
Mm-hmm.
was I was having a conversation. This was right after about the murder of about George Floyd, uh, and like Ahmaud Arbery, and right after Breonna Taylor. And I was having
Right.
conversations. One, I was angry. So let's start there. I was coming from a place of anger, but I've been learning, still learning, and have learned how to channel that anger into something that is worthwhile. And I started to get calls and text messages from people from my white friends, and people are just reaching out and trying to figure out how they can help, and with
Mm-hmm.
feeling guilt and wanting to do something about it. And um I started writing is what I
Right.
do. It's like write lists. And I started making a list of things that I would want to see happen. And it just so happened that as I was having a conversation, not long after that, I was talking to one of my friends, Randall Lane, is the chief content officer at Forbes, and I was telling Randall, I was kind of like going over this list because he was calling to check on me, like, how you feeling? Like what's going on? And I just told him like, listen, I'm mad. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to say like I feel fine. I'm very upset at this because I'm really sick of watching this happen and nothing being done. Like every time that this happens, it's just another black body in the streets, and there's nothing being done. And I started to share some of the lists of what I had. He was like, "Yo, let's do this. Like, how about I give you a platform, on the main Forbes account, and you can share some of this stuff. Millions of people look at this, and we have a lot of business owners that watch this. What I'm hearing from you is what you're basically saying is, what can the business community, what can this white male dominated business community do to help the Black community? Like what are some tangible things, not just thoughts and prayers, not just any of that,
Right.
but what are some actual action items? So I started writing, and I kept writing, and the list that was published is much shorter than my original list. If anybody is watching, if you want the full list, I'll share it with you. But started writing that list, and once I published that and we did that live and everything, that live actually broke the record for views and replays on the Forbes Instagram account. And then it turned into like an article, and that got published, and then that got circulated and started making the rounds. And what I started to see is things from that list being implemented in these Fortune 500 companies, and them attributing it back to, hey, I read this article and I see that there are some things that we have done that have been contributing to this thing, or some things that we haven't done that have been contributing. And I started to see like actionable change, which is what I've been waiting for. And one of the things that I'm not sure if this was in the published list or not, but one of the things is that there's a lot of these companies that were built on racism and on racist practices. And it's not the fault of the current CEO or the current, whoever, but it is there is an onus on them to dig deep into the history of these companies and to atone and make amends for it, and not just with thoughts and prayers. I was talking to a TI recently, and he recently launched his campaign with against Lloyd's of London, because Lloyd's of London, for the people that are watching, if you don't know, I just give you a brief history lesson. Lloyd's of London is an insurance company. I mean, they're like a high value insurance company, and what they did was they insured the bodies of slaves as cargo. So when they were picking up, these companies that were, this was big business. Think about, like, I don't know, Uber Eats, if they were delivering people. Like, it was that big of a business. Like, they were going to Africa and picking up people and bringing them here. And this company was saying, if you lose any of your cargo along this travel, then we'll insure it, which means that they were actively, participating in the slave trade, which is like despicable, and that has to be those type of things have to be atoned for. And that is the type of stuff that I'm hoping to continue to see, is people stepping up like Tip, and just different people at these companies, not waiting until they're challenged by somebody to do what's right. Like just doing it because it's the right thing to do. Just really looking internally at the company and saying, man, we built our fortune on the backs of enslaved people, and we should do something about this. Like, maybe it's not, maybe it's deeper than our reparations. One of the other thing was executive training sessions. There's a lot of places now that are like, we want to hire this amount of Black people, and we want to diversify our workforce by by this percentage. But if you look at these companies, look at a company like Amazon, right? If Amazon says we want to hire 40% more Black people, where do you think they're gonna work, Rudy? In the warehouse. Yeah, they're gonna send them in the warehouse. So that's not helping the situation. That's not making it no better. All you're gonna do is put them in the warehouse. So we need like actionable, commitment from these companies to put people of color in these executive training programs. Because I'm not saying just hire them as executives, because they might not know how to do that, but put them into a training program so that they're prepared to become an executive, so that they understand what it means to be an executive of a Fortune 500 company, and so you're not setting them up to fail. And the other thing is to create more Black business owners. Everybody is not meant to be an entrepreneur. So I'm not saying that. I'm not even preaching that, because I don't want to. I did that for a lot of years, and I really need to like write a a public apology myself. I would talk down on like the working man, like, oh, you got a job, it's crazy. But man, everybody is not meant to be an entrepreneur. If you want to, if you feel like you got what it takes and you're ready to jump out there, then go for it. But it ain't easy, especially not as being a black person. But if you want that opportunity and you think you do have what it takes and you're willing to, take the punches and take the beating it takes to be be an entrepreneur of any color, then I would say that there needs to be more equitable opportunity for funding, and that's not just from banks but from VCs. Uh, these pitch competitions need to be judged more equitably. Um, we need to look into the prices of goods and services. We shouldn't
Right.
be getting everything from China, because that's
Right.
also not helping the economy. It's not helping us build,
Mm-hmm.
because and we can. I mean, we saw this happen during quarantine. Like there was a lot of black businesses that we saw tank and go in the toilet because everything that they sold was being repackaged and coming from China. And once the border closed, it was like, man, we don't have any products. Like we
Right.
don't have anything that we can get from here. So making sure that we have sustainable businesses,
Mm.
making sure that there are not just they're not just in the funding and the products and services, but in something like We Buy Black. This is, I'm a shameless plug, and Rudy didn't prompt me for this, I promise.
Yeah.
But with a company like We Buy Black that is not just taking any product and throwing it on the site, like is really looking into it and saying, hey, listen, we would love to feature your products, but we want you to look into this first, and we want you to make sure that this is right and make sure that you have the proper images, and like really taking the time to work with business owners, and not just because you think that you can get a dollar from them, but because it's the right thing to do.
Right.
Because we understand that this a cooperative economics is not just something that we should talk about during Kwanzaa. It shouldn't have died with Dr. Karenga. Like this is something that you know we should always be focused on, how to invest in black businesses financially, with your time and with your resources and with information.
Right.
So that was
Gotcha.
a very long answer, but all of
No, man. No, that
that.
was a great answer. Not a great answer, man. I got some questions in the comments. I think you had answered a lot of them while you were going. I know they're asking
Oh,
for
okay.
that
Sorry,
list,
y'all.
man. So you got to send that list out.
I
They
sent
want
it. No
that list. You
problem.
probably dropped it in
No
the
problem at all.
yeah. But I know I wanted to,
Okay.
a lot of what you spoke of before we kind of end out. It was aligned
Mhm.
with the word that I've been hearing a lot, inclusive. Um, and I
Oh.
know and I hear that a lot, and
Yeah,
I
diversity,
and I know,
inclusion.
yeah, right. And
Yeah.
I know within Forbes the culture, like you said, we have a lot of members who are working in corporate America, working in companies that
Mhm.
have been open for years, hundreds of years. So their fight and their mission has been one to, how can we pioneer something out within this company? How can we work our way up
Mhm.
to where we can have roles, so we can open up opportunity, which are all great. We definitely need that.
Mhm.
But I want to know your thoughts on how Forbes the culture, your vision, your mission on how we could really infiltrate, let's just say, those who may not work in corporate America, right? Like those small business owners that you spoke of within our community, like those young men and women, like I hear in Atlanta, who on the highways coming off, they'll stand just to pass out water, right?
Mhm.
They're just saying, hey, we're not here to cause any harm, or
Yeah.
sneak or go behind your back or anything. We're just trying to make a dollar. We're
Yeah.
interested in learning how to do business. This is our way of expressing entrepreneurship, right?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
outside of that inclusive approach, when graduated from college, going to get your master's, going to get your PhD, right?
Mhm.
Let me go get a double doctorate. What can we do to inspire within our community so where we can have more success stories, like how
Mhm.
you hear in American history, right? You hear someone at 65 years
American
old,
history.
right? 65 years old, they can go and start a fried chicken company, right? And
Mhm.
boom, you got KFC chicken. How can we get more success stories within our community to where it doesn't matter what age you start a business, we're able to patronize one another and get to where we want to be. What are your thoughts?
Um, I'm gonna try not to make this as long as the last answer, but I got a lot to say about this subject. So people might not like this one because people don't like this often, but I mean, here we are. We are, and I'm talking about everybody that's alive right now. I'm not just talking about millennials. I'm not just talking about, we are the generation of sacrifice, right?
Mm.
There has been a way that has been paved before us, and they carried the torch as long as they could. And I think that one of the things that has been a common theme with it is that there's been a small group of people who were willing to sacrifice for the whole, but that's dead. It's time out for that. We have to have a large intergenerational wide sacrifice. And I'm
Right.
not talking about like no Jim Jones type stuff. I mean, like, if it takes you an extra 5 or 10 minutes to go support
Mm-hmm.
the black business, take that extra 5 or 10 minutes. If you
Right.
order something from that black company, and because you don't have Prime at that company, it's gonna take an extra week to get it, order it a week early. Like, we gotta make these these are these sacrifices. Like, we have to take the time to share. I spend so much time mentoring people that will never be able to pay me, or they might in some time, but not right now, not the rate that I'm charging them corporations, but it's worth it. Like, it's worth it to me because these young people are the next generation. I'm trying to create 1,000, 1,000,000 more uh, young business people, not just entrepreneurs, but more young business-minded people that are
Right.
in their teens, in their early teens, and
Mm.
they're like even down to like my daughter's age. She's 11. Like, even starting at that young, like making sure that they understand now. But
Right.
it's not easy. This is not an easy thing that I'm saying. This is not something that's going to be able to be done overnight. It's going to
Mm-hmm.
take sacrifice. It's going to hurt. It's going to cost money. You're going to be tired. You're not gonna have a shape up like me. Like, it's going to be a lot
Hey.
of time and
Right.
sacrifice that is involved, but it's going to be worth it. This is how we're going to be able to create more opportunities, having uncomfortable conversations with your bosses and with your HR departments and with your friends that are in power, with your black friends that are talking about all lives matter. With, like, we got 30 years, and you know where I'm going, Rudy. We got 30 years, right? Data scientists are now finally starting to admit that by the year 2050, people of color are going to be the world number majority, even though, spoiler alert, we already are. But
Right.
by the year 2050, they are willing to admit that we will be the world number majority. And if we look at any time, any other place in the world that has had this situation be before us, look at apartheid. Not to bring that up because it's a very
Mm-hmm.
damning subject, but if you look at apartheid, it was way more people of color than there were the people that were like oppressing them. But you know why they were oppressed? Because the
Mm-hmm.
system made it seem like they were like that other than that elephant that's tied to the stake, that's been tied to the stake since they was a little baby elephant and couldn't pull free, and they
Right.
didn't realize that they had the power. It just wasn't being exercised properly because
Right.
they had the numbers, but those numbers don't necessarily translate into power. So
Mm.
if we don't make these little, and I'm calling them little because I'm trying to make you
Mm-hmm.
more encouraged to do it. These little sacrifices that make up a much bigger impact. If we don't do this stuff now, then we're
Right.
going to end up in a situation like that in 30 years because we're going to have the numbers and we still not going to have the power. Like, all the
Mm.
data is going to be on our side, and we're not going to be on our side because we're going to be looking
Mm-hmm.
at the situation, and we're going to be still looking at it like we that elephant that was a little baby elephant and it was tied to the stake, and they
Mm-hmm.
still gonna feel like we can't get free, even
That's
though
true.
everything is saying that you can rip that steak out of the ground, but we got to do it now. So
Right.
by supporting, even if you want to go to Wawa, you want to go to a
Yeah.
7-Eleven, a Real Farms, and all of that. If you see that dude on the side of the highway, buy a couple waters. I don't care if you got a case of water at home and you pay $5 for that whole case. Spend the $5 with that young man. It's not going to kill you. Like, make
Mm-hmm.
sure, like, invest in business owners. If you gonna buy flowers for your lady, buy flowers from the black man that's selling flowers. If you gonna
Right.
buy crabs, know y'all love crabs. Don't just I see you right there. You love crabs. I know. If you gonna buy your crabs, buy the crabs from the black seafood place. Like, this is not. These are things that you're already doing. It's not difficult. It might take a little extra time. It might take a little research, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But don't wait until the end and be thinking about what you could have done or what you should have done or what. Oh man, I wish we had the or we could have. We could have, and then we got the opportunity, and we can. We should. What did Barack teach us to say? Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
like,
Right.
yes, we can. Like this is
Somebody
still this
said.
is
Somebody commented. Bring the money back home.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
there's so when I looked one year, it's maybe like a few years ago, and I looked at how much money I spent with black businesses versus how much money I spent in general, and I was embarrassed. I was like, I can't believe I'm living like this, and I'm saying this stuff out here, but
Right.
but I'm living like this in my real life. Like, this is not no. This is not like reposting them on like social media, which is good too. That's good too. But this is not just about that. This is not um donating to the GoFundMe. That's good
Mm-hmm.
too. But no, I mean, get life
Yeah.
insurance. But this is all about like using what you're doing already, like changing your habits to support these young struggling
Right.
business owners.
Right. Hey,
Like,
I
that
want
is
to
what
touch on
we're
something. I want to touch on something. Somebody comment. It's two comments. Miss Mayfield said we have to have a real conversation regarding black business professionalizing their business. I recently received a quote over $200 more from one of the black business owners. Then Mr. Corey Rucker said it's a challenge to love black. We gotta touch on this. I don't believe it's a challenge to love black, but I want to hear
Can I
your
speak freely?
perspective. Yeah.
I won't. I won't use profanity because you said that came from a queen.
Yeah,
So
this is
I'll put it like this.
this is
That's not true, man. That's not true. It is not difficult to love black. And yes, sometimes those quotes are going to be higher than you get from the white companies or from other companies. And you know why? Because it's harder to sustain as a black business. If we charge the same prices as those businesses that are our competitors, we would go out of business. There would be no black business. Like, we're not as large. I have people all the time compare, quotes that they get or products that they purchase from these multi-billion-dollar companies to products that they're purchasing from people that are just starting out. They're
right,
purchasing everything that they get probably from China, and they're purchasing it in bulk. They're
right,
buying thousands, hundreds of thousands, even
right,
hundreds, millions of uh, of materials
right,
all at once. This T-shirt is from Forticulture. Forticulture is who does all the Forbes the culture stuff. I pay for this stuff, even though we got a business partnership. I still pay for this stuff. I'm not asking him for no discount just because I known him for 10 years or because we both black. That don't matter to me. It doesn't matter. I want to
yeah,
support him. This flag, I bought this flag from somebody black. He tried to give it to me for free. I paid for it.
right,
Man, there's so much stuff I could pick up
right.
that's right
I,
here that I
and I
paid
want to
for
add,
that I could
and
have got for
I
free.
want to jump in too,
Like, this
but
not it's not difficult. Like,
yeah,
it's not difficult, but it will take sacrifice. It's like they missed the whole first part of what I just said. It's
yeah,
going to take sacrifice. It's going to cost more. It's going to, like, but it's necessary because we have to build up capacity. These businesses don't start out as a multinational, multi-billion-dollar corporation. They start small, and these things are expensive, and we support them along the way until they get large.
Right.
And then you can watch the prices go down.
Right. And
Sorry, go
that's
ahead.
the key. And that's the key right there. We work with them along the way. I see Mr. Devin Wade. He kind of co-signed with what the first question was, but he said black, yellow, brown, red, and white. Customer service must be right. I always support black businesses, but it's very hard to find those who offer good customer service. So right then and there, but the solution is in the statement. The solution is in the
Yeah.
statement where we have a lot of business owners who are starting businesses, right? But a lot of the time, the business cannot scale because of someone's price, which I do agree. However, when it comes to just working with one another within our community, a lot of the times, whatever could improve that business is really just one simple tweet that doesn't cost $500 an hour, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
it's just that customer support that business needs, let's help one another. Let's provide some assistance. Let's see if we can create some manuals, some SOPs within the company that can help the staff. That's how we should help
Absolutely.
the company instead of more so. I don't want to say we're not beating them down or criticizing them, because I definitely understand professionalism is important. But
It is, but yeah.
how can we like provide them, like that survey that they may need if they don't have it in place? So I get
Mhm.
exactly what you're saying.
What I want to say is also is keep that same energy, right?
Right.
You like don't I despise. I try not to hate things, but I despise when people say something like, I went to this black business and had a bad experience and now I'm never going back again. Because Target treats people like crap. Walmart treats people like crap.
And we
Starbucks
still
locked
go.
up Starbucks locked up two black people for doing something that everybody does at Starbucks. It's literally what Starbucks is for. They put Starbucks in neighborhoods just so people can go there. They give out free Wi-Fi for a reason. They locked up two black people. I guarantee there's hundreds of people watching this right now. I guarantee all y'all went to Starbucks this morning and they spelled your name wrong and you didn't complain and you'll be back tomorrow. So this is like that's a moot that's a moot point. Like, you can't say that it's because of the customer service. It's really because, and this is one thing that people don't want to deal with, they have unconscious bias against black people. Even black people do. Like, you have an unconscious bias against black people, and you need to really take some time and dig into that, because you may not realize it, but this stigma that's around, because you're not saying small business. If you say, oh, I had a problem with this small business and I'm not going back, that's different. But if you're specifically saying black business, then that means unconsciously that what you're saying is that the white businesses are going to treat me better and give me better customer service. And that's not true. There's plenty of places that I will never support again. And if I didn't work in the industry that I worked in, I would name them. I would give you a list of businesses that I
Right.
had bad experiences with, and I will never, ever in my life support them again. And it's not because they're black. I actually try to give black people the benefit of the doubt, because I understand the struggles that they go through and the things that they have to deal with as black business owners. Like, it's not easy. It's not simple. It's not just wake up and run your business every day. They are fighting a fight. They are running the business, and they're also fighting to run the business behind the scenes. And it's like I said, it's going to be like a sacrifice. Sometimes this is a part of the sacrifice. And when I say sacrifice, I'm not just talking about spending money. Let's dig into that a little bit. When I say that we are the generation of sacrifice, I'm saying these uncomfortable conversations that if you go into a store and or you have an appointment, and this person that you have an appointment with is always late, and you need to tell them, yo, listen, I want to support your business because I understand that you are a black business owner and I'm a black person and I want to support black businesses. But you can't keep coming late. Like, if you keep coming late, then I'm not going to come back and keep supporting you. That's a conversation that you can have. We are a communal people, right? So we respect those types of conversations. Somebody said that to me because I used to have a problem with lateness myself. Might still do sometimes, but because of that, those conversations are respected, right? If you go to somebody, you say, "Hey, listen, I bought this thing from you, and this thing that I bought was not of the quality that I was expecting." You give them a shot. You don't just take it and go on Yelp and say, "I bought this mug and it came cracked, and I'm never buying a mug from Black Mug Store ever again." Like that's not what we do, because
Right.
you don't do that when it comes to these other companies. You
Right.
give them shot after shot, time after time. Like they may be the they might be the owner, manager, cleaning staff. They have the customer service.
Right.
They have the fulfillment department. They're doing everything. You give this company that has all of these things,
My job.
all these
All the time
chances,
ever.
and not giving the chances to us. Oh, we're running out of time.
No,
Oh,
no,
my
no,
bad.
no.
I'm
You
sorry.
good. No, you good. I
Yeah,
was just, but
yeah.
time
We
was
not like
going
you
in,
got
bro.
you gotta we gotta be able to give our people the benefit of the doubt sometime as they're trying to build something. Just like
Right.
you will want somebody to give you the benefit of the doubt as you trying to build something. How many
Right.
times, and not to keep saying stuff like this, but I know who I'm talking to. So how many times have you done something at work and you got them written up for it and you wanted them to give you another chance? What if the first time you did something they fired you? And then you couldn't get a job anywhere again. That's what that sentence says to me. If you say, "Oh man, it's hard to love black," it's not hard to love black. It's hard to be black, but it's not hard to love black. Like loving
Mm.
black is something that shouldn't be conditional. You shouldn't only love
Right.
black when this black business is treating you right. You should love black enough to try to help them be better.
I like that.
It's,
You know,
it's
it's that 400 year head start, right? But I definitely want to hold. We can go all day on that one, right? But
word.
I don't want to hold you too long, man. I know we're coming up on our time. I did have one question I wanted to ask though. What
I mean, I
is
stay as long as you want, man. Here.
what is New Africa to Forbes the culture? Like when it comes to what is New Africa to you, the mission, like when it comes to New Africa, the mindset, what we want people to have when it comes to being compared to like a New York, from York back in the day, or New Jersey, how all these states came about here in America. What does New Africa look like for today's world within America? But how does Forbes the culture really see their input with being involved with that?
Well, I think that we have all of these terms, right? So we have like African American and minority and all this stuff. You know how I feel about minority, but we have these terms that were given to us, right? So when you look at other races, you see like Asian American, right? Because they can pinpoint where they came from, and if they wanted to leave here, they could go back, to some country that's in Asia. If you look at any of these other names, like you can pinpoint where they actually came from, and if they wanted to go to that place, they could. The term African American is incorrect to me because I couldn't tell you without going through an extensive DNA test where exactly we have come from, right? Because our history was ripped from us. So when you hear something like New Africa, that is literally our only choice, is to create, like, we belong here. So anytime that somebody tell you something like go back to Africa, like I can't go back to Africa because I've never been there. Like you brought me here. You can't kick me out of some place you brought me to. Like you you wanted me here. So now I'm here to stay. And now I'm going to create a new Africa here. Like I'm going to make sure that, and New Africa in my mind is not a physical place. It's like a community. It's like a camaraderie. It's like a new home. Like
Right.
we we have to create a new Africa, or we'll never have any
Right.
place that we can call our own, because we can't claim. Even though I love Africa, I'm not. It's not a diss to the continent of Africa or none of the countries in it. It's not a diss. I'm just saying that as a black person in America, I have to make this my home, because if not, I won't have one. Like we won't have a home. So Forbes the culture is similar in that to New Africa, whereas Forbes the
Right.
culture is the table where we have discussions and we decide what we need to go do at these other places. And New Africa is like our new home. It's like the collective of not
Right.
just Forbes the culture. It's Forbes the culture is, We Buy Black. It's the NAACP, even though I don't like that it says some colored people still. It's all of these. It's all of these organizations collectively coming together
Mm-hmm.
to create this new world that we want to see by the year 2050 and beyond. It's what you talk about with the 400. It's 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 all of us, right? But going back to that whole sacrifice piece, in order for us to have this new Africa, it's going to require us to make adjustments. Maybe of the term of sacrifices was throwing people off. It's going to require us to make adjustments and to make changes to our everyday habits and to the way that we discuss each other and the way that we
Mm-hmm.
handle each other. We need to handle
Right.
each other with more care and look at each one of us as an extension of ourselves. And I know that's they're gonna be like, oh, he just went all hotep on us. But seriously, like we got to look at each other as an extension of ourselves, because if we have weak links in our chain, as long as we got Terry Cruzes and Candace Owenses and all these other people, and we're not redirecting them and really taking a chance to say, yo, listen, you are about to mess this whole thing up. Like, this is about us as a collective. So that's like a wiggled around answer. But I mean, that's what I see it
No, man, that
as
was
as
great.
like the new Africa is like us as a collective is making sure that we look at each other as extensions of ourselves. So people say the golden rule is do unto others as you would do unto yourself. Like look at it as the black rule or the black golden rule. Like treat your brothers and sisters how you would want yourself uh, to be treated.
Mm. Man, I love it, man. I love it.
And
Well,
I wish I
I mean,
could see those comments. I want to share
I
some more
think you
stuff,
can. Like,
but
I
I
think
know
you
we're
can.
out
You
of
get,
time.
you should be able to. You should probably say chats. I don't know if you can see it, but,
Oh
um,
man, I've been missing this all this time. My bad, y'all. I'm sorry. I would have
yeah,
been
man, it's right there
I
in
would
front
have
of you.
been more engaged. Yeah, I see it.
Kafi said, "Our collective spirit, all experience the same thing. Yes, we are one." I love
Yeah, I
it.
see
Yeah,
it.
you
I
know,
see. We are a $1 trillion community. That's true. But let's really start to dig into what that means. Let's not just start memorizing these sound bites. Like let's really dig into what that means. Like having $1 trillion in buying and spending power, and that is great. It's great to memorize and be able to spit it at people. But like we need to utilize it for ourselves. Like we can't just keep saying it and then spending it with other people. There was like this stat that came out, and I kept seeing all these people post it, and it was something like black women, spend the most money. And I was like, oh my God, why are y'all championing this? This is not a good thing. This is not like why like this is not like we shouldn't be celebrating this. If it was something that like black women spend the most money with black people, then that would have been, that's something different. But like I don't want to keep seeing these stats about how much money we spend with all these other companies. Like that doesn't it
right,
doesn't make any sense. It's like
right.
it's like saying it's like I don't even know what I could compare that to. I can't even think of anything as bad as that. Like we can't keep them celebrating giving our money away. Like that's not like like be to educate yourself on what that $1 trillion and that was like two or $3 trillion. I'd be like to like educate yourself on what that means. Each one teach one. I keep seeing it. Yes, like share this information, but don't keep allowing um don't keep them allowing each other to perpetuate these like soundbite stereotypes and not doing something about it, because
Right.
just memorizing soundbite is not helpful. Like it doesn't It doesn't all that makes you as bad as the talking heads on TV. Like you can go in and be Al Sharpton for all of that. So I don't know. Just just something to just something to think about. Like just really look at what that means. Like look at what this actually can do for us if we spent it properly. Like if we really said, I saw my friend Kezia had this campaign where she wanted to see like a $5 million spent with Black businesses, and she beat it. That type of stuff is beautiful because that is a prime example right there that shows how much money we spend and how quick we could spend it. She had that campaign set up for 30 days and met it in 14 days. Like you spent $5 million with Black businesses in 14 days, and that wasn't even that was just the people that like kept track of their receipts. Imagine all the people that didn't keep track of their receipts. I didn't submit any receipts, and I know I spent a couple $1,000. So that's
right.
like it's still the same. Like just
you saw that question right there. We are underpaid. We are underpaid individually, but collectively, what will our dollars do?
So underpaid individually. So we wouldn't be underpaid if we stopped them giving stuff away for free and we stopped them complaining about the prices of Black businesses. So that's one thing. But if you mean like underpaid by corporations, that's going to require information sharing. So I've been in some negotiations recently, and some of the negotiations that I've gone into, I sought advice. I reached out to my mentors that have been doing this for dozens of years more than me, and I started asking questions about what type of salary requirements, or what type of contractual obligations should I submit to, or what type of, and when you're going into this, ask questions. Like don't just take the first thing that they offer us because we got imposter syndrome, because we feel like we should be grateful just to be in the room, that we should be happy just to be here. Like negotiate, push back, ask for more. Like that's allowed. And like collectively spending it with each other will help us to not be underpaid. Like we are underpaid because of, I mean, there's a lot of reasons.
Someone said be willing to walk away.
Yeah, man, listen, be willing to walk away. Always negotiate your salary. Yes, exactly. Be willing to walk away. That's the most important part. Who said that? Rachel. Listen, man, you got it, Rachel. Listen, be willing to walk away, and then actually walk away. Don't just be willing. I missed out on, and I'll tell a quick story. One of the biggest contracts that I would have had at the beginning of my career was a 6-figure deal that I was going to do with, how long has it been? No, I can't say it yet. But let's say it was a cigarette company, right, that was offering me a lot of money, more money than I had been offered in my career at that time, because I was just starting my business and I had just left corporate America that paid me, what my grandmother would call them nigga pennies. And and I was in these negotiations, and they said, "Hey, what we're trying to do is we're trying to infiltrate, basically in like not so many words, we're trying to break into the Black community and to like condition Black children to want to smoke cigarettes. And by the time they are 18 or like old enough to purchase, that they will have already made a multiple of touch points with cigarettes and all of that." And I'm like, oh man, this is, are y'all crazy? Like, is this a joke? Where is Ashton Kutcher about to pop out from? Like, is this for real? Like, and it was more money. Like, it would have been enough to send both of my kids through 3 colleges. And I still was just, it's not worth it. Like, I had to walk away because I wouldn't have been able to sleep at night. And not even just that, it is sometimes all all money is not good money. Like that's like all money is not good money. And sometimes not even just in that situation, that was like a moral obligation, but there's been situations where I could have lost out by going back to the table and saying, I want more. I need more.
Right.
We need more. And I still was going back because sometimes it's worth it. All the time is worth it normally. But most times it's worth
Right.
it. Most of the time it's worth going back and saying, we need more. This is not enough. Like, I am worth more. And you got to value yourself. So that's the
Right.
going back. I can't find the
Yeah.
name of the person who said it, but most of the probably the most important part is to value yourself first. Like, make sure that you
Right.
understand that you are the what you are worth. You know, put a value on yourself and then add text to it. Think about start thinking about, and this is not, I'm not trying to trigger anybody, but start thinking about what your ancestors went through and what your great grandfather and great grandmother and great great grandmother and great great grandfather went
Mm.
through. When you start calculating these numbers and start thinking about how much they should have to pay for that, even if they had nothing to do with it. Still, I'm just saying,
No, no,
just
I definitely get what you're saying, man. I
yeah,
heard a quote earlier yesterday. They were saying, "We are the saviors that our grandmothers prayed for back during those times." You know,
absolutely.
for us to be in the position that we have to make the adjustment that we do, we are definitely blessed. So I definitely, man, appreciate you. I know we kind of coming to the end, so I definitely wanted you to
Yeah,
summarize, provide
sorry,
any
y'all.
last.
But I hope
No, you're fine,
y'all
man. Provide some last little, last little bit of insight. Let everybody know again, kind of, you know, Forbes the culture. Where can they find you? Where can they follow you?
okay.
Yeah, man.
Uh, my the best place to find me is can I type in these comments too, or I
I
can't?
think so. Yeah, I think you can. So yeah, afterwards you
All
can
right,
drop
it
the
might be
links in.
yeah, yeah.
After,
I'll drop all the links in the comments, but my Instagram is at king underscore spit spit, because if thou doth not proclaimeth thyself a king, who shall? You can. I mean, this is going to sound pretty pretentious, but you can Google me because there's a lot of different stuff. So if you put my name in Google, all the stuff should come up. It is Rashaad, Rashaad. My last name is Lambert, Lambert. Forbes the Culture at Forbes the Culture. Um, that's on Instagram. Twitter is at Forbes the Culture without an E. Um, what else? I want to leave with like five quick points, and I'll just make them like one sentence. One, we are not minorities. That's number one. Don't let people call you a minority, and what you allow people to call you shows what you think of yourself. Um, Two, this is the generation of sacrifice. We don't have a choice. I'm not asking you to do something. I'm telling you what we got to do. This is not even coming from me. This is coming from the ancestors. So I'm telling you now, if you don't do it in 2050, are you gonna wake up and you're gonna realize that you should have listened. Um, Three, we need safe black spaces. Thank you to We Buy Black. Thank you to uh, um, thank you to Rudy and to Sharif and Knox and 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 to the whole team. Support Buy Black. Don't let We Buy Black just be a title. Think about it in your head. We buy black and just do it. Like, that's what we should be doing. Support black businesses. Go online right now and find a black business that you can support and buy something, sell something. I don't know, figure it out. Um, and the fifth thing is drink a lot of water, man. Drink a lot of water, wear a mask, stay out of the mix. Don't go to any pool parties, man. We can't just be letting ourselves just die off like that. Hopefully y'all are young and healthy, but if you're not, if you're a little seasoned and you shouldn't be outside that much, just be safe. I don't want to end on that note, but be
nah,
safe,
man.
man. COVID is real. This is not a
Mm.
joke. Like, this is a real thing. Like, hold on, let me put this in the comments just in case y'all think I'm joking. Wear a mask, please, please. Like, this is not a joke. Like, I lost 12 people, 13 people now. Wait, 14 people now to COVID since this pandemic started. This is a real thing. Do not go out here playing around thinking it's over. Heat does not kill it. Don't listen to that orange bull. Like, this is not this is a real thing. So yeah, that's it. But thank y'all. I'm gonna drop some links in the comments for
Yeah,
the
man,
people that's still
definitely
here.
drop it. Yeah,
Um,
I'll say some last words too, man. I definitely
please
appreciate
do,
you.
please do.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you for joining.
Oh shoot,
I know you mentioned health, and
that ain't it.
a lot of people say health is wealth, but I really believe that wealth is health as well. If we look at the health of our people and where we are mentally, physically, spiritually, there's a lot of trauma going on right now within the generations that have been here. But moving forward, we want to be in a position where we are having these type of conversations. We're talking about the hows and the what, and the action steps as it's aligned with setting the precedent. So I really, really just commend forth the culture for all that it's doing. I want to thank you to We Buy Black just for providing this platform, for really sparking that thought of New Africa, because it's not something that we need, it's necessary. We really only need God and one another, family. But within this time, as I heard our leader Sharif say, he can't wait till the day we don't have to say We Buy Black anymore, right? And it's just
Exactly.
something that we're doing. We don't have to speak of the Black lives or anyone's race or life mattering, because we all know that life as it exists, and existence in general is what matters. People and love. So thank you, brother. Thank you for this time. Everyone who's joining, be on the lookout for tomorrow. We have a great lineup. Brother Omar Sabir.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
man, that's
family.
up in your town, man.
Yeah, man, that's family, man.
Philadelphia. Yep, Philadelphia City Commissioner.
Absolutely.
Yep. Who we'll have on there? We'll have Senator Anthony Williams, Congressman Dwight Evans, State Representative Jordan Harris, and Councilman Isaiah Thomas, all on a panel tomorrow. They'll be going over the power of our vote, what to do, what do we have to lose, right? So definitely tune in tomorrow. We definitely understand we're in a critical time when it comes to politics all over the world. But when it comes to, like you were saying, Rashaad, what can we do individually as we develop as Black men and women through this time? So thank you all for joining. Thank you for those who commented. Yeah, man, I feel like that's all I have, man. I guess we can end it at that. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, you all be
man,
sure to check out We
definitely.
Buy
And just
Black.
like I said in the comments, I dropped some of my stuff in the comments.
Yeah.
I dropped the link, so make sure y'all wear a mask.
So
Drink
mind your
some
business.
water. Yeah, man, mind your business, man. You live longer that way, man. Drink water and mind your business. It'll be ease your mind. And when I say mind your business, I mean like really think about stuff that affects you, not just like stay to yourself. I mean like focus
Right.
on yourself. You'll live a lot longer that way.
Facts. Well, all right, man. Well, yeah, I ain't gonna hold you any longer. Thank you all
No
again.
problem, man.
You
This
all
was
stay in the
dope.
comments afterwards. And yeah, man, I'll be talking to you soon, bro. Peace.
Okay, cool. Peace.
One love, y'all.